Recently, I read the novel Foreign Affairs by Alison Marie. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. The setting is 20th century London during fall. Autumn in the UK is drizzly and dreary all of the time. The main characters of the story are Vinnie Minor. Her real name is Virginia. She is a professor at a university in New York, and she is going to London to write a novel about children's folk rhymes and their differences between the United States and London. While she's there, she has an affair with Chuck Mumson. Chuck is an older, retired man who's married and just a little bit odd. Next, we have Fred Turner. Fred is a younger colleague of Vinnie's, and he's in London for the same reason, to write a novel on folktale rhymes. While he's out, he has an affair with Rosemary Badley. Rosemary is a famous actor in London. She is rich, famous, and very beautiful. The plot of the story is pretty straightforward. While on a plane to London, she sits next to a man named Chuck, who's quite annoying because he keeps telling her about his life story. But as they keep running into each other in London, she gets a little more attracted to him every time, so much so that they eventually have an affair. Throughout the book, she's continuing to write her novel. The overarching theme in the story is appearance versus reality. A good example is while Chuck is complaining. He says, "I get the weird idea sometimes that I'm not really in London, that this place isn't London, it's some kind of invitation." Then the brochures continue to say that it appears to be green and beautiful and sunny in London, but the characters really say that it's dingy and grummy and soggy all of the time. This continues to show in the characters. A good example is Vinnie. Vinnie appears to be plain and boring, when in reality she's vivacious and intelligent. Defining childhood. The Romantics say that the purest form of oneself is when they are a child, because they're interested, curious, and excited about learning the world. Also, they have the ability to trust anyone and everyone. A good example of this is early childhood. She had given her deepest trust, and which for half a century had suggested what she might do, think, feel, desire, and become, has suddenly fallen silent. Now, at last, all of those books have no instruction for her, no demand, because she is just too old. This shows that Vinnie used to have the purest form of herself, but as she grew older, this all went away. As children grow up, they lose the purest form of themselves, but they also experience a loss of innocence. A good example of this, as has been remarked, almost any woman can find a man to sleep with if she sets her standard low enough. This shows that Vinnie understands that love and sex is not as grand as people say, but by the tone of the quote, she's not all that happy about it. Defining adulthood. The best example in the book. They are also really pissed off at themselves for having been dumb enough to come here on leave from the adjacent Southern California colleges at which they teach, with a year-old baby on top of everything. They were warned, but they had been brainwashed by their admiration for British literature. This shows that as you get older, you rely more on yourself than others to make your own decisions. Also, even if you are angry, you have to take consciousness for your own actions. It is the cultural norm for people to feel the weight of social responsibility, and social responsibility is a little bit different for everyone. In this culture, where energy and egotism are rewarded in the young and good-looking, plain aging women are supposed to be self-effacing, uncomplaining, to take up as little space and breathe as little air as possible. This shows that Vinnie understands she has to step back and allow the younger generations to take charge. power of an individual. As I walked by myself and talked to myself, myself said unto me, Look to thyself, take care of thyself, for nobody cares for thee. This quote shows that Vinnie is confident leading her own life and is a very individual person, which is quite powerful. The Gothic style can be shown throughout the whole book. A good example is, they may be struck by lightning or pruned by the hand of man. They may grow weak or hollow. Their sparse fruit may become mishappen, spotted, or sporily cracked. The Gothic undertone is shown in this book many times, but in this quote, it shows the full of extreme emotion and twisted thinking. The power of idealism is any various system of thought in which the object of knowledge is held to be in some way dependent on the captivity of mind. The dog that is trailing Vinnie, visible only to her imagination, is her familiar demon, or demon familiar, known to her privately as Fido, representing self-pity. This shows that Fido represents Vinnie's self-pity, and he helps her based on her mindset. The pitfall of idealism. Although idealism might seem pretty great, there are some problems. Vinnie knows very well that Fido wants to get onto the plane with her, but she hopes to leave him behind. Vinnie can't do this as Fido is a social construct of her imagination, and she relies on him as he relies on her. In this novel, it holds many different themes throughout its pages, and Laurie was able to show the literary movements often, although it wasn't really following her genre. Thank you for your time.